All right, guys, we mentioned last time, the last video, that something about singing in the bowl. So I decided that today we're going to discuss singing in the bowl, and so let's see what that means and who can do it and who doesn't do it and blah, blah, blah. It's not a very common method because, frankly, most people that sing it, men, I'll say men sing it, they get too chested and too low, the voice gets too much of that. So you have to know how to do it correctly. And the ladies that do it seem to have great success with it. Back in one of the earlier videos I made, I did some down and unders, and what's called clucking, and you go, oh, oh, and it makes the voice jump way up in the head. You sing under the low note, oh, right? So where you teach some falsettos, which are called countertenors when you get them going. But you have to have a certain kind of falsetto for that to be successful. So now what we want to talk about now is the sort of technical side of this and how we achieve it. And let's see what happens to, let's say, your voice if you try it. If you don't like it, don't do it. But a lot of people have been successful with it, right? So the thing that it depends on, if I'm going to sing way down remember your pelvis is shaped like this. And like you have a lower belly that's shaped like that, and then you have a back that's shaped like this. So it really does form a bowl down there. So if you can learn to sing down on the tailbone, the perineum, right, and generally let's say in the lower abdomen in the front, and get this whole thing going. First thing you know, you can use the bowl as a place where you connect the bottom of your air column. So we're talking about really an air column that's about as long as I can make one, as I have one in my body. I'm 6 feet tall, weigh 220 pounds, so I have a certain length and certain width to my air column. But let's face it, I studied with some people with not only much bigger voices but much bigger bodies. I studied with Lawrence Melchior for a while. Well, he's 6'6", and that was tall, 6 inches taller than me, but he also was from front to back. Just huge, just this thick, right? I don't know how much he weighed. He must have weighed, pushing 400, maybe 380, something like that. Anyway, huge man. Big head, this size. And, of course, a fantastic voice. Now, if I want to get down low, you have to remember that every action has an opposite reaction. So if I push down there, like that, and go down, it reacts on my throat and closes my throat and tight, and I can't sing that way. Which means that if I'm going to use something as low as the pelvic floor or the bottom of the bowl, I've got to get down there in a way that it reacts with freedom up here and not with tension. Which means we're limited to basically one approach, which is the sighing approach. Now, we just discussed a lot of sighing in those first two videos, and especially in the soft style one. I did hard style, soft style, and soft style means simply that you learn how to sigh everything. You breathe like crazy behind you. Imagine making a fist like this, and then instead of making another action to hold it in place, you undo it like this, and you just gradually do a contrary motion, what Caruso called a contrary motion. Now, the contrary motion is very important, but has one danger, and that is if I really breathe down and then I relax upward and do a pure contrary motion, it's a little confusing. You can't sing that way. But then you keep reading it. Caruso said, and be sure to keep the breath well down toward the abdomen. So the abdomen becomes the number one dropping place, or leaning place, or letting place. I'm going to go, I'm going to undo what I did, and I'm going to undo it down in the pelvic floor. And if I do, I get a sound like, that's a pair of vocal cords way up here vibrating. But the access, the air column is all the way down to the pelvic floor, and I am able to access that entire air bucket down there, the entire air column. And if I can get it going correctly, as Caruso said in his book, you should feel the tone vibrating all down inside your body. Well, if you're holding something someplace and going, or anything like that, where you're cutting off that spot, so you will never feel it vibrating in your whole body. But there are many ways to control the voice, and hard style, and we studied some of that. You and hold it, you the fact that I'm quacking first note means I'm not holding in my throat, but I tend to give a little more support, and it works. But the one that I want to really discuss here today is singing in the bowl, and to do that you have to learn how to sigh all the way down into the pelvic floor. So let's start by sighing, let's say on the tailbone. Now to do that, I have to slide back and down and go way down my spine, and I try, instead of sliding back and down, I try to sigh back and down. So I'm going to go, how far down did I get? Did I get all the way to the tailbone? Because I'm not going to get in the bowl unless I get down to the bottom of the bowl. Sing, you can't sing on top of the bowl very well. You can do it, but your voice will be somewhat problematical and smaller. So let's say I really possibly maybe get down and finally let go and let it go. I remember I sang for U.C. Bierling. It was the greatest male singer that I ever heard, really. And his main vocalist was shaking his flanks. And I'll show you what I mean. He shook his flanks this way. So what am I letting go of to keep the voice this responsive to shaking my flanks? If I do if it doesn't disturb the voice, then there's something wrong. Then you're holding it somewhere up above. But if you can really let go all the way to the bottom, so that was his way of achieving how to sing in the bowl. Now, I studied with him for a while, and he was not really a teacher. He was the greatest male singer I ever heard, I think. And other people had great voices, but he was a technical master. And he could do any kind of technique you ever heard of in your life. He could do anything and everything, and did. I heard him sing a lot of operas, and some of them that I sang. I did Don Carlo by Verdi in the 5-act version. I heard him sing it in the 4-act version. It was like the best thing I ever heard in my life, because I knew the opera inside and out and knew the problems. And some of the operas are so difficult that if you start, helping, getting tight, and getting sort of action-reaction systems going, you get so exhausted that you poop out by the end of the opera. You may sound good for a while, but that's what happened to Giacomini and Domingo and Aligal, people who sang these operas and would just poop out halfway through the opera because they were doing what I was taught is called hard styling. And the hard style is you use muscles to do everything, and the soft style is you use sighing. Now, if I can sigh all the time, right? Let's face it, I can go, oh. If I can do that all the way to the bottom, then I can sing in the bowl. So let's try it. I can try the front. I'm going to go below my navel, somewhere between my navel and my pubic bone, and I'm going to sigh. What am I doing? What is that down there? Where is it? Now that was in the center of my abdomen, right? Down low, halfway between my navel and my pubic bone, and that happens to be a chakra in yoga. It's also where in all the karate styles that I've done, you shout in that spot. Hey! Hey! Every time you throw a punch. Hey! 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 And you do it on that spot, right? And in some places that you say a word. Kiep is in Korean. Kiep! 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 But the idea is that you're activating a spot in the center of the abdomen way down low, right? if I sing there with the heart style, that means flex muscles down there and hold it there. I can do it, but I have to be very careful that I don't get tired, and I have to be careful that it doesn't lock me up in any way, that I don't start getting reactions like that. Most people that try to go down with let's say, muscular action like that, and all of a sudden they get a reaction, and the throat closes. So how do I get down there? By undoing action. Remember, I took a very big breath behind me, and now I'm going to do a contrary motion, but I'm going to keep this down, well down toward the abdomen. And that's Caruso's idea. That's not a bowl yet. Now, imagine that you're shaped like that, and you're out here on the front wall. Now, how do I get below that? How do I get lower? Well, a lot of singers, Birgit Nilsson in particular, the greatest voice, monster voice, sang in the perineum. Now, the perineum is way down in the center of the crotch, really, which means it's really at the bottom of the bowl. So now I'm going to sigh on the perineum. You'll say, oh, but that's so limited to big music, and you're sort of yelling and blah, blah, blah. Well, it all depends on what you're going to do, what the music's asking you to do. And sometimes that's safer than trying to maintain the voice in some squeezed up, narrow position, and you can get in terrible trouble that way. This way doesn't cause nodules or any problems, let's just say you accuse me of yelling a little bit, and you're probably right. But you know what? I was a tenor, and part of the fun of being a tenor is you yell and get away with it because they need tenors so bad. You can yell and they still hire you for the next show, right? In fact, I'll say, oh my gosh, your voice is really big. You must be a Heldon tenor, young Heldon tenor. I said, please, just bite your tongue and don't ever say that again. I don't want to be, even try to do that. I sang for Lowell's Melchior, and said, you are not the Heldon tenor of the young. Right? So that was enough for me to take the word of the great man himself, right? So, we're trying to learn the bowl, and now I did the lower abdomen, right, between the navel and the pubic bone. I sighed there. Now I'm going to move my side point down to the perineum. That means instead of leaning at the front a little bit down below, I'm going straight down now. So it's really vertical. I'm sighing the whole time. But I'm trying to sigh on these spots down there that will correspond. Not correspond, but will reward me with total freedom of the throat, jaw, and tongue. Remember, the first rule in Bel Canto School was no tension in the jaw, tongue, or throat, period. You have to sing with them totally loose. Well, if I go, guess what? This whole area suddenly, disappears. Ava Turner, who was the first tone adult in England at Covent Garden, came and did classes at the Metropolitan Opera when I was a young singer. I was in that school for 5 years, and she did master classes, and she studied with a guy who was the Garcia Star teaching student, and the guy taught Ava, and everything was about the invisible throat, the invisible jaw, the invisible tongue. If I do that, you can imagine if I push down like that, it's not invisible any longer. Man, it's getting busy. There's muscles working like crazy up there, so I can't do that. I have to be able to go down by going, and sighing lets me undo all of my muscles. So now I'm going to sigh on the perineum. Remember that? Remember the abdomen? Perineum. So you realize you're going down at an angle like that, abdomen, then you go an angle like that, perineum, and the next one we do is the tip of the tailbone, and then the angle's like that. Where am I leading my breath? And it's really sighing. Now, comes the big question, can I hit all three at the same time? You shoot, it's like a scatter gun, and you go, ah, and the thing sort of splits in three on the way down, and you try to sort of line the walls down there with your sigh. If your sigh goes down a certain way, it'll spread out at the bottom. You can either limit it to a location, or you can spread it out. How do I do that? See? We're trying to sing, trying to sing various kinds of music. Let's say I'm going to do whatever. Try forward sing. Oh, tu pensa agli angeli eternamente pura, sali sola in colma. So how do I do that? I'm sitting in a chair, I'm completely relaxed, I'm leaned over, and I can do anything I want to. I can stand on my head if I want to. But I've done it. I'm not a good headstander. I used to prop my feet up against the wall, and at this one show we did, more like a concert we did, and we did some funny stuff. I'm not much of a buffo tenor. I can tell you right now, this guy, the talented ones can be so incredibly funny in the things they can do. But anyway, so what happens if I really do just sigh down and into the bowl? See? Tramondate stelle all'alba vincerò. And somebody said, why don't you sing the high notes? I said, I don't really sing above A anymore. Once in a while to B flat. But I've got to do it. I'm 85 years old. And I'm very grateful that I can sing all day, every day. And I've decided I'm not going to push my voice. I'm not going to test it. I'm not going to check it out. Frankly, I don't care if I'm an 85-year-old who can sing high C's. I don't really care. Once in a while, I'll sing one by accident. It'll go, lose the key, and I'll be singing, demonstrate something. But I don't have perfect pitch. I don't have perfect pitch. So I have to sort of know the key. And if I just start singing sometimes, of course, to be a tenor, I always want to sing higher, right? And I've sung, accidentally a few times. I've sung up there. But, I got the notes all right, but I just don't want to strain anything. Why would I stretch myself to that state? I'll leave that to the younger guys, right? So how do I sigh? You've got to learn not to go, that's not a sigh. A sigh is undoing that. See that? And then when you do it, it all falls down. Let's say, that's here. That's Tito Schipa and Claudia Muzio. Then I do here. That's really, it's more like Corelli and Tucker. It's interesting because Tucker did a breath stop here. If I take that and then throw it back, I get so it goes down mostly about to my epigastrium, right? And then I keep wandering down, trying to find ways to get lower and lower and more relaxed. Because, if you're singing the operas that I sang, they're all 5 hours or 5.5 hours long. And if you do that, you just simply must not get tired, right? Now, I don't count old age. Old age, maybe it's normal to get tired. But when I was, younger, like last year, then I didn't get as tired. That's all. I simply didn't get tired. I made sure that it's almost like coasting to it's like when you go downhill on the bicycle. You go, and you just let go and sing down there. La, la. So what am I doing? I'm undoing the breath I took, and I'm letting it go like this. See, I'm not sort of parceling it out in little bits. I'm letting go and letting it drop all the way to not only to the pelvic floor, but I'm trying to sort of coat the pot too. I'm trying to like drop it in this way. As I mentioned a while ago, dropping, hitting 3 points at the same time. You can think about that, or you can be simply think of one point, which is the entire inner surface of the bowl. See? So if I do that, then it's a certain kind of sound, and I use it a lot singing German opera, not so much in Italian. If you want to say the words in Italian very clearly, that this whole tube can get a little bit too big. But it was really good for a lot of Freischutzes and Parzifals and Lohengrens, Meister singers, the stuff that basically that I sang a lot. Freischutz was I sang it hundreds of times, right? So how do you do that? That's all. I mean, what do I let go of? Well, I let go of this big breath that I took. Well, in what manner do I let go? Well, I don't go, ah, I go, ah. You know, Corelli had that thing, Frank Corelli had that thing where he sang behind the glottal stroke. So you go, ah, 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 ah. Well, how far down did that, you went down my spine, how far down did it go? Krista Ludwig sang 60 years between her shoulder blades. Works like a charm. But what if I take that lean, right, or that sigh, and I move it on down? Do I stop at the tailbone, or do I go ahead and put it in the bottom of the bowl? It's on the tailbone. Now, what do I need this for? I sang for Melchior, you know, for his Helden tenor. He would give it away money if they could find a young Helden tenor, a real one. And I sang for him. He said, "You're not a Helden tenor. You're a lyric tenor." And he said, "You are in Italy what they call a lirico forte, a strong lyric." So I was a strong lyric, and I could make all these different sounds. And what that did is it enabled me to sing a lot of repertoire that I would never have been able to sing otherwise if I had known these things. But you know, there's certainly other ways to sing, and I use them all. Where's my lean now? Where's my breath stop? What is my breath doing? Why am I not tense or choking or anything? Somewhere I've got the breath working in a way that keeps my throat free. So then I can use any phonation that I want to. If I'm singing Irish, maybe there's a tear in your eye and I'm wondering why. Don't want that phonation? What do you think? Dammi una tazza di caffè. Right? Vogliamo andare in città per comprare qualcosa per mangiare stasera. But Caruso said his A vowel was far back and low in the throat. Well, being a young tenor, I wanted to be the one who could imitate Caruso's sound like him. So I tried putting the A vowel far back and low in the throat. Now, all of a sudden I began to realize, wait a minute, all these different ways require different breath support methods, right? Especially in the depth of it, or the intensity of it, or the relaxation of it. If I want to get down and survive a 5.5-hour opera, I did Meister Singer, 5.5 hours. I did Don Carlo Verdi in the French version, which is 5 hours and 15 minutes. And how do you survive that? Think about it. So you really need to understand how to sigh And you don't have to sigh in the bowl. You can sigh, you sigh right here. Tito Skipa sighed right here very successfully. And I've sung a lot of performances that way. Really? I don't have perfect, so I never know what note I'm singing, so I can look once in a while and just see. That was an A, right? To B flat, but I could go so I'm doing fortissimo or something big, Verdi like that, and I think, you know what? Sometimes it's nice to have a big, full voice. Sometimes the orchestra, especially with certain conductors in certain theaters, the conductor always treats you like you're his enemy, and he wants to bury you. So they will do it. Sometimes they will do it. Sometimes they'll do it with tempo. Let's say you're used to having time to pronounce the words, right? To do some of the translations in English. I mean, sorry, in German. Wie so trügerisch sind Weiberherzen, mögen sie klagen, mögen sie scherzen. Now, what tempo is a nice tempo to do that one? In German, you've got a lot of words to spit out. And you get guys that go, right? Wie so trügerisch sind Weiberherzen. But you've also got guys that go, wie so trügerisch sind Weiberherzen, mögen sie klagen, mögen sie scherzen. So you got to be able to stay free up here. If it slows down, you stay free to have tone. And if it goes faster, you stay free just to be able to pronounce the words. So anyway, I wouldn't tell anyone how they should sing. I would simply say learn different methods and different ways, and especially ones that are based on breathing. And find out which one your voice responds to, see? I mean, I'm not sure an 85-year-old voice can really demonstrate anything in terms of what you should sound like or what you want to sound like, but I can sing any way you want me to sing. I can Which way should I phonate my vowels? See, we did some hard style work. Remember when I went, and I showed how and then I maintained the position of the diaphragm, like that, and go, man, that imposes on me more a certain phonation process. If I do that, I really can't fool around that much with it. I sort of have to take, as my old teacher would say, you must accept the leftovers. What is left over when I do that? Much more limited. If I can do nothing and just drop and go, am I in the bowl now? See? I can do anything I want to. And then my taste comes into question, and somebody says, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? Perhaps, and they're right. But it's part of the search, to experiment, developmental process of any artist, right? To find the way that they can best express themselves, their ego, their sound, the gifts they may have as an instrument, as a voice or musicality, whatever. I have a reputation as a big singing actor, so that was always very important to me. And what I would do is I would color the sigh. If let's say I'm happy, but can I do that one in the bowl? And can I be happy in the bowl? I'll never be like what you man. Yes, the answer is yes. Can I be sad in the bowl? Can I be resigned to death and know I'm going to die? What do you think about that? What sigh would that be? I've given up. I know I'm going to lose this duel. That's what happens in cavalry rusticana. Torito fights a duel, and he knows he's going to lose. He knows he's going to die, so he tells his mother goodbye. All right, so I'm going to say, maybe I even know the key for that one. Let's see. Yeah. So if I do that one, and I'm very resigned, and I want to use the sigh method, and I want to sing in the bowl, a little complicated there, but hopefully this has all been taken care of one thing at a time until finally I'm free to just pick one and go. But if I sigh in a very resigned he's telling his mother goodbye. It's called a farewell to the mother aria, right? So I go, Void over the forest, the mamma sola, mamma. You see what I mean? Un altro bacio. Now he may be thinking how sad his mother's going to be when he dies. You know? Anyway, you get the idea. If you can sigh and keep sighing, you can get a bigger, longer air column. It's like any instrument, like a clarinet. If you cut the clarinet in half, what would it sound like? Or take the mouthpiece off of Moses, it squeaks. It's got to have an air column under it to make a good sound. Then all of a sudden you can hear it in every theater in the world. That's the way you want to sing. You want to find that long, deep side position, and you don't have to sing dark with your tone. You can sing very clear. Lamberti said, just sing the ah that's in the Italian word stai, S-T-A-I. If I do that, there's nothing to keep me out of my bowl. See what I mean? Oh, la 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 la. So why don't I just sing bright all the time? Well, I guess I could. Some people like that sound, some people don't. Some people are too blatty. Some people say, no, use your phonation's in the wrong place. It should be in the back of your neck. Like Corelli, behind the glottal stroke. So what do I do there? Where's my phonation? So the idea is to give the artist the possibility to make artistic decisions. But you have to be very careful because you might love to sing Otello. They offered me Otello when I was 26 years old in the Hessen State Theater in Germany, in Wiesbaden. And I accepted it. And that summer, I was supposed to open the season the following fall with Otello, can you imagine? And, tenors rush in where fools fear to tread. Let's face it. I mean, I'd sung the notes and no problem. Ora sempre addio, santa memoria. Well, you know what? It doesn't exactly sound like Otello because I sang the little role of Rodrigo with Miles Domenico as Otello, and then I heard what Otello was really supposed to sound like. I thought, anyway. A lot of stories to tell about the business. The main thing I wanted to do is clarify this singing in the bowl business. It means sigh down in the bottom of the pelvic shape. La, 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 la. I can use any of those phonations. And they're all sitting at the bottom of the bowl, which is what permits me to sing those phonations. And let's face it, once you give someone a choice, they can make mistakes, and you'll choose sometimes the wrong one. Or about having to pay you. Yeah, I like the other one better. No, this is the best one. No, but I heard the other. No, I heard that one. It wasn't as good as this one. This was the best. And you'll end up. Robert Merrill used to say all the time, you ask 100 people their opinion, and you get 100 different answers. So you better decide for yourself which one you like, which one lets you get through these performances. And in Germany, you might sing every night for years. And I'm telling you, if you do big operas, They don't care. You still have to do it every night if you want to. If you want to, let's just say you want to be very well known and be a success in the German system. You need to have a lot of stamina. Okay. All right. I hope that's at least touches on the subject enough that people can think about it, and you know, you can decide how you want to apply it or if you want to apply it. But it is a marvelous feeling that will constantly. A throat that simply never works and never does anything. It might sound like, maybe it sounds like I'm doing something in my throat. But the work is down here, and this is a reactive throat. See, it's not action. And I'm looking for a certain way to pronounce a language, and that's one possibility. Okay? Okay. I hope that helps. Bye.